Imagine a war where the enemy isn't an army, but an empire built on drugs, corruption, and blood money. A war fought not in open battlefields, but in the shadows of jungles and cartel compounds. This is the new face of America's war on drugs in Venezuela, and it's about to unleash a weapon so powerful it shakes the earth itself. Gone are the days of simple raids and patrols. Now, the United States relies on precision drone strikes, satellite-guided missiles, elite special forces, and the ultimate symbol of destruction, the mother of all. Bombs, entire cartel strongholds once thought untouchable, are being reduced to ashes in coordinated assaults. But what kind of devastation does this weapon truly deliver? And how do the cartels react when the sky itself becomes their greatest enemy? Today we dive into the story behind one of the most feared weapons ever built, and what happens when it's unleashed in the fight against organized crime. The United States made history when it deployed the most powerful non-nuclear bomb in its arsenal, the GBU-43, known as the Massive Ordnance Air Blast Bomb, or simply the MOAB. Weighing over 21,000 pounds, it was carefully rolled out from a U.S. Air Force MC-130 Special Operations aircraft over Afghanistan's Nangarhar province. The target, a dense network of tunnels and caves controlled by ISIS-K militants, fortified hideouts that had resisted every other form of attack. When the MOAB detonated, the impact was apocalyptic. The ground shook for miles. Shockwaves rippled through imagine a weapon built not to intimidate from the sky, but to burrow into the earth and destroy what hides beneath. That's the difference between the MOAB and the MOP. The MOP tips the scales at roughly $33,000 LB, making it the largest non-nuclear bomb in the U.S. arsenal. But weight alone doesn't tell the whole story. Its true power is purpose. Packed with nearly $18,000 LB of high explosives, the MOP is engineered to punch deep into hardened underground facilities and detonate where smaller weapons can't reach. The MOAB, by contrast, trades depth for sheer surface devastation. It's built to flatten surface targets and shallow tunnels with overwhelming blast force. That contrast continues in delivery and guidance. The MOAB is released from the rear of a C-130 cargo plane and uses aerodynamic fins to steer toward the target. The MOP is a different breed, GPS-guided and intended to be carried by stealth platforms like the B-2 Spirit, able to penetrate defended airspace and place its punch with far greater precision. Despite that capability, the MOP has never been used in combat. The MOAB did make headlines when it was dropped in Afghanistan in 2017 against ISIS-K fighters in cave systems. Military leaders later explained the choice. Commanders weighed collateral damage and blast effects carefully and concluded the MOAB was the right tool for that mission. Powerful enough to collapse tunnel networks while limiting unnecessary destruction. For military enthusiasts, these two weapons represent opposite poles of conventional firepower. The MOAB is as much psychological as physical. Its blast shakes the ground and morale alike. The MOP is a statement of reach and precision, a reminder that deeply buried targets can still be struck. Cost is another surprising angle. When people asked how much a MOAB costs, the figure often quoted was about $170,000 per bomb, astonishingly low compared with advanced missiles. But that number isn't a modern production price. It stems from mid-2000s estimates and the weapon's ad hoc development. Much of the MOAB was assembled using spare materials already in service, not produced through a standard procurement program, so it doesn't have a single, official line item in Pentagon budgets. One of the MOAB's crucial innovations is its grid-fin steering system, which lets the bomb guide itself with impressive accuracy for its size, reportedly to within about 8 meters of the target. That capability began with a small contract to Dynetics in 2002 to develop the fin concept, a modest investment that paid off with a major improvement in controllability. Dynetics has been quiet about the program, and many cost details remain informal because much of the work was done in-house by the Air Force Research Laboratory rather than through large external contracts. In short, the MOAB and the MOP aren't rivals so much as specialists. One is the thunderbolt that terrifies and flattens above ground. The other is the burrowing sledgehammer designed to reach hidden, hardened targets. Both show how strategy, engineering, and purpose shape the deadliest tools of conventional warfare, technology or not. This uncertainty reflects how unusual the MOAB program truly was. Less a polished acquisition effort and more a one-off project designed for a specific wartime need. Another mystery surrounding the MOB is how many of them exist. Officials have never released the exact figure, but reports suggest there are around 15 bombs in the current stockpile. Their exact locations, of course, remain classified. An auditor could attempt to assign a more precise value to each bomb in storage today, factoring in materials, labor, and upgrades. But the Air Force has kept those details under wraps. For military enthusiasts, the story behind the MOAB, the mother of all bombs, is what makes it so captivating. Its legend isn't just about raw explosive power, but its origins. Born out of spare parts, cutting-edge fin design, and rapid in-house development, the MOAB was a Frankenstein creation built for one purpose: to collapse cave networks in Afghanistan and strike fear into America's enemies. And it did exactly that. Its low-cost and unusual backstory only add to its mystique. But even after its dramatic debut, questions remained. Would the MOAB ever see action again? One concern was cost. Each bomb is estimated at around $170,000, cheaper than advanced missiles, but still significant. Experts noted that other weapons could deliver equal or even greater destructive power. A single B-52 bomber, for example, can unleash a payload that matches or exceeds one MOAB. Another issue was supply. Only a few were ever made, built in the early 2000s from available parts and tailored for the Afghan war. Replacing them wouldn't be easy, meaning commanders would likely reserve them for truly exceptional missions. Cost became an even greater factor when compared to the MOAB, the massive ordnance penetrator. Between 2009 and 2017, the Air Force spent over $572 million on research and development and another $43 million for 28 bombs, roughly $21 million per weapon. That's a staggering contrast to the MOAB's $170,000 price tag. Now, as the U.S. faces drug cartels, a new question emerges. What happens when the mother of all bombs enters that battlefield? Can the cartels stand against such a weapon? Retired General T. Michael Mosley once explained that the decision to use the MOAB wasn't random. It came down to perfect timing. The right enemy concentration, the right location, and the right conditions made it the ideal moment to unleash America's most powerful non-nuclear weapon. But some questioned why the Air Force chose the MOAB over other heavy options like the B-52 Stratofortress, which can carry over 50 bombs weighing 750 pounds each. Combined, their impact could match the MOAB's devastating force. Arms control expert Jeffrey Lewis argued that the B-52 could achieve similar results while offering more flexibility. So why risk it all on one massive weapon? The Air Force's answer was simple. Every mission demands the right tool for the job. Air Force spokeswoman Ann Stefanik explained, "It's not about showing off the biggest bomb. It's about using the right weapon at the right time. And for deeply buried drug labs hidden in cartel strongholds, the MOAB was the perfect choice." Its immense blast can collapse tunnels and wipe out underground operations that smaller bombs might miss. But this strike wasn't just tactical. It was psychological. Dropping the MOAB sent a clear message: no place is safe. The very name, mother of all bombs, carries power, spreading fear long before detonation. It reminds enemies that America wields weapons they cannot match. Still, the debate continues. Was it necessary to use such an overwhelming weapon against cartels, or was it about making a statement? Critics argue that smaller, more precise strikes could achieve the same result without the spectacle. Supporters counter that the MOAB not only destroys targets but also sends an unmistakable warning. Any future expansion into underground networks will meet the same fate. Either way, one thing is certain: this marks a turning point. The cartels, long protected by secrecy and tunnels, now face a weapon that makes those defenses meaningless. No bunker is too deep, no tunnel is safe. When a bomb built for war comes crashing down on them, the question isn't whether the U.S. can strike, it's whether the cartels can survive what comes next.